Welcome to the Youth School Holiday Program. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Gadigal and Wangal people of the Eora Nation, and to pay my deepest respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. Hi everyone, I'm Sharon McKilwee, the Youth Librarian at Inner West Libraries. I'm here to talk to you about Young Creatives Awards 2020. If you're aged between 12 and 24 years, we encourage you to enter the Young Writers and the Young Artists competitions. There are some big cash prizes to be won. So here we are at Scratch Art in Marrickville, and I'm going to hand you over to Carmel Byrne. And she's going to help you find your inspiration. Looking forward to seeing your entries.
Welcome everyone, I'm Carmel and I'm taking your drawing class for today. Today we're looking at an exercise that I hold as the most important drawing exercise. It's called a blind contour, and then that's extended into partial blind contours. So now when I draw, I use a partial blind contour, but when I first started to train my observation skills, I used a completely blind contour. So I use this exercise to warm up in the studio before I have a drawing session, afternoon drawing session, morning drawing session. It helps me focus for the first 10 minutes so that I'm completely in my drawing zone. It's an excellent exercise for that. It's challenging, but it's also fun, and the drawings results are amazing. So let's go upstairs to the studio and get working. So here we are in the studio, and I have a very simple setup. We're working with a still life. I like to keep things simple when I'm learning new skills, and I also like to work in threes. So the still life that I have set up today, there's 3 different bottles, they're 3 different sizes, and they're also 3 different tones. We have a light tone, a mid-tone and a dark tone. So we start with a very simple still life. It may be simple, but you're going to spend an hour with it or so, you need to make it interesting. If the still life isn't interesting, then you need to create it to make it interesting for yourself by doing an exercise that's challenging and an exercise that creates really amazing drawings. And that is what we call a blind contour. Blind contours are blind because you're not allowed to look at your page. It's very challenging. There's something in our heads that really wants to look at a page, to look at the page. So I suggest that you actually put the page like aside so it's very difficult to look at it, so that you can engage directly with the still life. So this engagement with the still life is connecting with the 3-dimensional space and energy of the still life. The actual exercise, blind contour, starts with your pencil or your charcoal, and we choose a spot to start drawing. You put your pencil on the page and you can't lift the pencil off the page, so you end up having one large line drawing, and you draw very, very slowly so you can capture every little bump, every little valley. This is A2 cartridge paper, and I'm going to just choose a place on the 3 objects to start. I'm starting with the object closest to me. So I'll try not to look at the page. It is hard. So here we go. So really slowly, I'm just going to start at the top lip of this bottle. And the reason we draw very slowly is because it's a good way to create a sensitive line. And you'll notice that I'm holding the pencil like that. I'm not holding it like that when we're writing. When we're writing, we tend to be using the left part of our minds. Doing this helps break down that habit. And also there's a lot more flexibility. When you're drawing like this, you don't have much flexibility, but like this, you can really swing. You're actually working from your wrist. So back to the drawing. So these bottles were handmade, so they're quite bumpy. And one of the main purposes for this exercise is to let go. And when you let go, and by let go I mean that you just actually just be part of the process. And I'm obviously not sitting here thinking I'm going to make a drawing of that still life, although I am making a drawing, but I'm kind of tricking my mind, because if I sat down and worked from my mind, I think that voice in our head that likes to talk all the time tends to take over, and it draws what it thinks a bottle looks like, rather than what's actually sitting right in front of you. So I think I've finished that bottle. I'm going to travel down to the neck where it's overlapping with the bottle behind. So while I'm travelling across like that, I'll just do a light line work. And now I'm putting more pressure on because I'm pretty sure I've got the edge of that object. And I can just feel my whole body relaxing. That's why I use this as a warm-up exercise, because it works on quite a number of levels. It's like helps you relax, helps you let go, which creates a freedom, which then allows like creativity to step in. And the training that's happening is between my eye and my hand, and just my full observation. So now I need to travel. I think I've got 2 objects complete, and I'm going to travel where I think the 3rd object meets. And it's kind of like mapping, really. I actually consider drawing mapping. And then so I'm quite enjoying just the slowness of this, the pace of this drawing. And when this technique is used when I'm actually making a drawing, I did practice like this for a long time to train myself. But when I use it now, when I'm making a drawing, I use what we call a partial blind contour, where my eyes are on the object or the model usually, 90% of the time. So now I think I've completed the 3 objects. So you can see that it's quite a distorted drawing, but you can see little glimpses where where things are in proportion, and the negative space there, we'll be talking about that in another session, is pretty right. And there's a liveliness to the drawing as well that I quite like. So now I'll just go through what I used to do before I went to art school and what I thought what drawing was. And I would get quite frustrated with drawing back then. So I would approach a still life like this, and I would think, okay, well now I'm going to sketch that still life. And then I would get my pencil and I'd sort of do these little sketchy marks like this, thinking, oh, okay, that's a drawing, but you kind of get something similar, but the actual line work itself, it's not really saying anything. It's like, it's tentative, and it's like I'm a little bit scared of drawing, and that comes through. If you have a fear, that comes through to the hand when you're actually drawing. So this exercise, the blind contour, helps you build confidence, and it helps you make a confident line work as well. So the other thing would be, I would be like, oh, okay, that's a bottle. I've seen plenty of bottles in my lifetime, so I'm just going to draw a bottle, and my eyes would be on the drawing. I'd try to glance at it like that, and then I'd come back here. Yeah. That's a bottle. I've seen a bottle like that before. And then just keep going with probably what kind of looks like confidence, but it's probably fake confidence. And then I might even be pretty happy with it at the end. But really, now when I analyse it, The sensitivity of the line work in this drawing is tells much more of a story. So if you practice this exercise 10 minutes a day for 3 months, your drawing skills will elevate to an incredible level. I've seen students, my own students, improve incredibly. The ones that actually do practice it 10 minutes a day for 3 months, for instance, you can actually see really good results. There's an artist called Egon Schiele. You can see he was working during the First World War, and you can see his this technique being used in his artwork. It's the basis of all my work. I use this technique a lot. It's a very important approach for me on a lot of different levels. So for the next session, we'll be looking at partial blind contours. That's an extension of the blind contour into the space where artists use it in their practice. But in the meantime, keep up the practice of 10 minutes a day. I hope you enjoyed the session, and I'll see you next time.